Greetings, groovy people! Welcome to the channel. I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. This is Blue Dragon Art. And at the end of the month, I do a monthly Q&A for my patrons at the $5 level or higher, as well as anyone who has questions. I just give preferential treatment to the patrons, of course. And a while back, I had mentioned in one of the Q&As, I was asked how I make videos, and I couldn't answer it at that point because it's just, it has a long answer. I don't even know that I'm really the person to answer this question. I don't think I'm particularly great at making videos. I'm okay with what I do, but you might want to go out there and learn from people who are a little more experienced and know how to edit and shit. Not me. I don't know how to edit or anything. But I do like to answer questions that I get if I can, if they're not too personal, and this one was not personal, so I'll do my best to answer. But yeah, so if this isn't your video, I'll be back next week. I'm going to be talking about Dark Horse in next week's video, so you can come back for that if this is something that doesn't interest you. Welcome to the new subscribers also. I keep forgetting to say that. Welcome. Thank you for subbing. I hope you find something of worth in this channel. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into answering the question, how do you make videos? Part 1. The steps. In this section of the video, I'm just gonna literally go through and list the steps that I take in roughly the order that I take them. It's not exactly in this order because I'm always recording footage at different times, and sometimes I'm writing ideas at different times and whatnot. But this is just the overview of what I do. Part 2 will be the example where I actually show you how I work on the videos. So, brainstorming is the first thing, usually, that I do. I kind of have, ideas that I write down. I have an actual monthly schedule with all the Wednesdays listed out, and I write down roughly what video topics I want to cover. But that is not set in stone, because a lot of times there's things that come up that I want to talk about more, or something might take a little bit longer to work on. And so, it's mostly a guide rather than a hard and set schedule. When Pride Month comes up, I, usually do a Pride Month video. I usually do an Earth Day video, but I didn't this year just because I didn't really have the time or the energy to do a Friday night video. But I have all these ideas written down so that if I'm looking for something to do, I have a topic, and otherwise, if there's something else that I want to do instead, I will do that video instead. But I'm constantly just writing down the ideas so that I don't forget what I want to do a video on. When I'm ready to work on a video, I will, whatever topic that is, sometimes script out what I'm going to say, depending on the topic of the video. If it's something like the manga in theory and practice, that was heavily scripted. I always go a little bit off script here and there, but you can kind of tell whenever I'm reading from the script. I try to put inflection in my voice, but I will work on a script and try to sound more natural than usual. Other times I have more off the cuff topics where I kind of have just a bullet point list of what I want to talk about, and I'll just kind of ramble around and, talk about things way less scripted. And in the Q&A videos, I literally, for the most part, except for questions like this one that I got, those I usually just read the question off and answer off the top of my head, unless it requires a little bit more research. So after I've scripted, at some point I will record the audio. If it's a voiceover, I'll record the audio in something like QuickTime or voice recorder. If it's a desk session, a lot of times I will use OBS, which has both the video and audio. So if I'm showing you a book and talking, or if I'm talking while I'm working on a project, those will have the visual elements and the audio tied together. But if it's a voiceover, I will take the time to record the audio. And once the audio is recorded, it gets dropped into Audacity. I edit out the noise. I don't know how to do a lot of voice editing, but there's a few tips and tricks that I got from YouTube. And one of them is noise reduction. And then I will edit out and cut out all the ums, ahs, Not all of them, but a good portion of them. I leave a couple in because sometimes it's like in the middle of a sentence that I'm talking very quickly. Other times I will leave it in just for kind of emphasis so that you know that I am thinking, because it is kind of like a time saver when you're trying to think of what you're trying to say. So it feels a little more naturalistic when you leave some of them in. And sometimes I feel, yeah, it's okay to leave it in because it just shows that I'm thinking of what word comes next. But I do use and a lot when I talk. You know, I say a lot, so I cut a lot of those out in Audacity. And then I will export the file as an MP3, and then it'll be ready to drop into the editor. I tend to use free programs. I'll talk about the editors that I've used in a few minutes. But once I have the script done, if I don't already have video footage recorded of some kind of art project that I'm working on, I will use OBS. Or before I got OBS, I was using just the Logitech program that came with the camera that I use. It's not like the best camera, but it works. It's fine. I'm not going to bitch about it. I don't have money to get like this big fancy set, and I'm not really interested in making like supremely high quality videos because I'm just not. I'm more in it for like the art, and I like to just talk about the art. But I'll have like OBS, and because my audio is hooked up with the visual, sometimes I'm doing voiceover, so I will have to detach that in the editor, the audio that's recorded, because I'm listening to music or YouTube videos. Other times, if it's a desk session, I'm just kind of taking care of both things at once, the video and the audio. After doing the audio stuff, or sometimes before, I will record working on artwork so that I have visual interest in the video. After that, I've got my primary elements, and I will open up either CapCut, which is what I've been using these days. It's also free of charge. I also have used iMovie in the past, and I'm very happy with iMovie. I made the switch, though, because iMovie, while it's fantastic, and there's a lot of things that are very intuitive and easy to use, and I do definitely highly recommend it, the only problem I had is that it wouldn't really allow me to stack text, and I really like stacking text and visuals and stuff. I don't really like to be limited on that because sometimes I use the text for like emphasis or for comedy. Sometimes I use it for corrections. Sometimes I use it just for a little bit of additional information, and I like to kind of stack it sometimes. So both CapCut and iMovie, perfectly fine. I like both editors. CapCut was a little less intuitive for me. Like a lot of things, a lot of the shortcuts translate from iMovie, but some of them also don't. When I start talking about like the zoom and the actual example portion of this video, the zoom had me so pissed off because I had no idea about like the anchor points, and I kept fucking up and not figuring it out. Even with like tutorials, I had to have my partner. I'm so dumb. I mean, I'm not dumb, but like it took the two of us kind of working through it. He messed up a little bit too, to give myself credit, but we finally figured out how the anchor points worked for the zooming. And so I just feel like I'm going to share that because it was far less intuitive than like the zoom that you can use, the panning and the zooming and shit that you use in iMovie. I think is a little bit easier to learn without having to have like instructions. But yeah, once I had the visual elements and everything, I dropped that into iMovie or CapCut, and I start working on the video proper. So obviously, the art portion of a video usually takes a lot longer than the audio. I know some of my videos get long, but even so, usually the video that I record of working has to be time-lapsed in order to line up with the length of the audio portion of my videos. So when I'm in the editor, a lot of times I will speed up and time-lapse my art. Sometimes I'll also use slow-mo for like emphasis or for comedy, you know, something like that. Within the editor is also like where I drop like either static images of pages or characters or art that I'm discussing or want to share. I also will sometimes add in audio or visual clips as like kind of comedy or as a reference and share with people. Those I usually will get from YouTube, and then I'll drop it into like some kind of YouTube converter and just use a small portion of it. Once I have the video edited to my liking, I will then drop in the musical elements. I like to use the floating text these days to give credit to the artist. I usually will use the YouTube royalty-free music library, but I also will use places like Nihalore, Play on Loop, Zapsplat.com. That's where my opening theme music came from. But I use royalty-free resources for that for the most part, so that I'm less likely to get like a copyright strike. But I always, by the end of the video, once I'm done putting in the music and stuff, I put in the credits section at the end, in the end scroll, the credit for like music that I use and clips that I use. Sometimes I'll put websites for references and information that I discuss, depending on what the topic is, depending on how common knowledge I feel it is, and depending on how much time I have. But I almost always try, if I use some kind of visual element, to put the credits both in the video part as well as the description. The description is the other component of like the credits section. Once I've got the credits all edited and stuff, I will go through, I will watch the video like 2 or 3 times while I'm editing, y'all. And I still don't catch everything. At that point, once you're done, I export it. In CapCut, the export is in the upper right-hand corner. I export it as an MP4, and I'll get into more details about that when I get to the sample section or the example section of this video. Once that's done, it sometimes takes a little while, depending how long the video is, to actually do the export. So I will start focusing on the description, making sure that I have links and credits, and update what the topic is, add any relevant links regarding whatever I'm talking about. And I will also work on the thumbnail. Making a video takes several days, for me at least. And it's not even like all that heavily researched most of the time. The ones that are researched, like The Manga and Theory and Practice by Araki, that one took several months to work on just because I had to actually read the frickin' book and then work on the script and then work on all the editing, and it was such a long video. But even if it's a short video like my quick vid, I can sometimes get that done in a day. But usually I will set aside Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to work on my videos. Unless it's going to be a longer one. When I start realizing, hey, this is going to be a longer one, then I will do a quick vid, or I'll put something out that's just me kind of talking over a time lapse of art so that I can continue working throughout the week and over the weekend on the longer video that I'm working on. And that was kind of the case with like my top 5 magical girl stories, anime and manga stories. That video took a lot longer to put out because it ended up taking a lot more time. And then even then it was late because of all the copyright bullshit. So yeah, making videos, at least for me, is a several day process. Once the video does finally get exported though, I upload it into YouTube as well as BitChute. And that can sometimes take a couple hours. So I just I use that downtime to work on like the other elements of the video that will be necessary. And occasionally I'll drop in an iCard once everything is uploaded into YouTube. But I don't do iCards quite as much as I used to. I used to use them a lot. So that's like the list of steps that I take. We're going to go ahead and move into part 2, the example. Greetings, groovy people! Welcome to the... Okay, so in my voice recorder, I open up the file. I like to keep things organized when I'm making my videos. I'm not particularly organized, but I do stab at it. I do make a stab at it. Somebody could stab you. I'm sorry, that's from like Aqua Team Hunger Force. I'm of that generation. We totally watched that shit when we were in college. So I get that in my head sometimes. But anyway, I digress. I have my video folder. What is this considered? This is a Q&A video. So I keep these separate. And this is May Q&A. So these are other steps that I didn't really mention in the other recording. But I take this audio recording and I drop it in my folder. And then I close this. I'm done with this. I'm recording in OBS now. So tell me if the audio quality is different. I'll hear it. You don't need to tell me, but you can if you want. So then after I've done that, I open up Audacity. And I'm not going to edit this entire thing for y'all. I just want to show you what I'm talking about. So I've got Audacity opened. I'm going to take my recording and I'm going to drop it in here. And then I'm going to do the command or Apple or whatever it is. Or control, I think. I don't know. I had my partner switch my buttons around because I'm too old to be learning new shit. I kept hitting the wrong buttons and it was wasting time. But, so I said to go to Effect, Noise Removal and Repair, Noise Reduction, Get noise profile. See how this is all dead space that I had selected? That's so that it can hear like whatever static is in the background. Now I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go down to noise removal and repair, get noise reduction. The suggestion of this video that I watched years ago, and I don't remember who it was, I'm so sorry, but the dude suggested if you aren't a professional with sound, a good way to reduce your noise is to have it set to 12 dB, 6 for sensitivity, and 3 for frequency smoothing. And I just have reduce, I guess. These were the suggestions for people who weren't professional editors, and it's worked for me for the most part. So then I hit OK. You can see it takes a little bit of time for it to smooth that out. This is real time. Okay. See how when you look at the audio, do you see how that's reduced a lot of that static? I mean, the sound waves are being like visually shown in Audacity. I'm not going to edit this whole thing, but I want you to hear a little bit of what I do. So let's just go ahead and do it in real time. Greetings, groovy people. Welcome to the channel. I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. This is Blue Dragon Art. And I'm zooming in. I do a monthly Q&A for my patrons at the $5 level or higher, as well as anyone who has questions. I just give preference. See how there's an once you edit a lot, you'll start recognizing the shape of the sound waves for a lot of words. Like this usually looks like butt to me, but butt. See, there's the so I delete that out. Let's go over here. As well as... Oh, no, that was as well. But oftentimes looks like that, like it spikes like that. Anyway, I'm getting off. So that's what I do. And then I will go to File, Export. Export as MP3. And then I need to go to my... Whoa, where am I at? Okay. Q&A videos. Make Q&A. And I will rename this edited audio and export it as an MP3 file. MP3, not MP4. I'm just going to do it even though I'm not finished editing that audio. I'm just doing this so that you see the process. And then I'm good to go in this. So we'll say that I'm done with this. I'm just going to close it out. I don't usually save that part, because I keep the original audio in case I fuck up and got to go back and re-edit it or something like that. But yeah, what I do after that is, let's open another window. I need visuals for this, man. I need visual. So let's open up a new window. I'm still not used to the order of shit on this computer. I got to go to my drive that I use. And I need to go to videos. I have an extra videos folder. This is where I have OBS send all of my video footage. What is today? The 29th. So these are all files that I recorded today for this video. I'm going to drop them in. Oh, okay. Well, skip that. I guess it's got the file that I'm working on. I'm recording right now. Okay. So there we go. I've got my visuals. Now, I'm going to open CapCut. Let's see here. No. Son of a bitch. I didn't mean to hit that other button. Okay. Have I done this video? Yeah, this was the quick vid. Okay, so I like to just... Everything's already set up for, like, the opening, intro, and stuff. So what I usually do is I just come in here and delete the contents, aside from like I keep the scroll, the edit scroll. Whoa. And what the hell? I don't think I need that. Yeah, I'm gonna delete that. And I use the template that I already have. This stuff's going to be edited, so it's going to be messed with later, but let's see here. Alright, so this is like my ending stuff. I like to keep that. Let's see. Okay, so I've edited the things that I don't care about out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of my old footage. You can just start a new file, but I make so many videos. I make a video a week that I like to keep some of the elements that I reuse in here and then just like edit out the old shit. Okay. Now what I do is... I hit the wrong button. God, I wish it would stop. I want it to be... I want the pictures. Alright, so I have the edited audio that I'm going to drop in here. And I have the visuals, some of the visuals. And what I'll do is I will add the video. And then I'm going to add the edited audio. Whatever the name of the video is, this is a text clip that I wanted it to be on the main line here for editing. So I'm going to undo compound clip. When you make it a compound clip, that makes it so that it's, I don't know how to put this, it makes it solid so it's part of the film footage as opposed to being an editable text. I don't know why that makes a difference, but I do it. Don't ask. Don't ask. Oh, I'll tell you why. Because it makes it so that I can do some editing to the clip, which I'll show you at the end of the editing what I'm talking about. This is Q&A. Oh wait, May Q&A. May Q&A. How to make a video. That's a working title. It doesn't matter. I may change that before I release this video. So I'm going to make this a compound clip again, and I'm going to put it down there because I want it on the main feed. That's just how I want it. Don't ask why. That's how I want it. I want this black background. That's why I do it. See, there's a reason for the shit I do. I just don't always think about why I do it. Okay, so this, I left too much dead space, so I'm going to shorten that audio a little bit. And gonna listen to it. Maybe we're gonna listen to it. I got too much shit going. Greetings, people. Welcome to at the end of the month, I do a monthly Q&A for my patrons at the $5 level. Okay, so I don't have this video really doing much of anything. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, and sometimes that's fine, but I want to make sure that things kind of make sense, so I'm going to put my picture, my little avatar here, and what I'll do is I try to make the visual elements a little bit interesting. When you're over here, you have your thing selected, your image selected, you can have it zoom in and out and move around the screen by adding anchor points. I had to learn this the hard way. This was so confusing for me in CapCut. It's a little bit different in iMovie. Watch somebody else's video for that because I don't feel like doing... I'm sorry. I don't feel like recording two different editing programs here. But what I do is I add an anchor point. Let's say I want my character to start up here. I want her to start over here. That's what I want to do. She's going to start off screen. And then when I start talking, okay, so I stopped it where I wanted it. I have my image selected, and to add an anchor point, I'm going to hit this little diamond here that's above the scale. It's got to be the very top one so that everything is selected, because otherwise these positions won't move along with it. There's more detailed explanations. I'm trying to keep this short for y'all. So I'm going to do I'm going to put one anchor point, and then I'm going to quickly put another anchor point because I want my character to come in. Oops, I want her to come in. You need two here so that you have the original position remembered. And then your next position is going to be, I'm just going to come in like this. Greetings, worldly people. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have two anchor points. Otherwise, it'll drift. And I'll show you what I mean by that because I sometimes drift it. But I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Greetings, people. Well, so I want to add some text here. There's text options up here in the upper left-hand corner. I can do regular text, which I use a lot of times. You know, I could say whatever. Greetings, groovy people. And yes, I spell it with I-E. I'm not going to spell it with a Y. Fuck that noise. If I want it to be a more interesting looking font or text color, I can select some of the options over here that they've got. You can change stroke to a degree depending on if you're using like the text template or just the regular text. You can change it to have one of these cool text effects. I do that a lot. This is usually what I use though for like regular talking, quote unquote talking. So let's go through the playthrough. Groovy people, welcome to the channel. I'm gonna shorten that. A lot of times I will just copy and paste and then go back up to basic and change the text. Oops. Welcome to Blue Dragon. Arrgh, I can't type today. Fuck, stop that. So this is, you can imagine, this is a very annoying process because I had to listen to myself over and over again. Greetings, groovy people. Welcome to the channel. The self-proclaimed. And since I'm going to be introducing myself, I want to add emphasis to that. Make fun of myself, sorry. Greetings, groovy people. Welcome to the channel. The self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. Oops, I didn't have that. I didn't have that where I wanted it, so you can remove the anchor point by selecting it and doing that. I actually want the anchor point maybe right. I'm gonna move this cursor here, there. That's where I want it, and then this one I'm gonna change. Hopefully that'll work. Let me get my boobs right now. My boobs, the avatar's boobs. This is not what I look like, y'all. Welcome to the channel. The self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. Okay, and then I would probably pull back out a little bit because, you know, just to add interest, like I'm talking. Like I'm talking. I'm talking to ya. I'm sorry, you guys. Sometimes I talk really weird. It's just, you pick up a lot of things. But then you get the idea. Groovy people. Greetings, groovy people. Welcome to the channel. The self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. Okay. And that's basically the way you edit zooming in and out. Now, let's say that I didn't add 2 anchor points. Let's say I wanted to make my character kind of dance around. I will just add a single anchor point and move it at the end of the month. For a certain, I mean, I just kind of let it play a little bit. You know, it's kind of random. Blue Dragon art. And see how she just keeps moving? I do a monthly Q&A. But yeah, that's essentially how you zoom in and out on CapCut. It was kind of complicated for me, at least, to understand, because I think it's a little bit more intuitive over in iMovie. But yeah, once you get this down, you can also edit audio by adding anchors, and you can turn it down at another anchor. See how it's moving down there? You can turn it down. I play around with the audio a lot. I'm just going to get rid of those because I don't want that. But yeah, you can play with the audio. You can add fancy text. Let's see here. We've got text templates. I use this for whatever song is playing in the background. Song title by band. And that way I can give credit. But I don't want it like just floating around, so I'll move it down here. You can change the font size if you want. There's all kinds of options. You just got to play around a little bit. I do. And I think that kind of gives you an idea of how to edit a video. Obviously, you'd keep going through, adding whatever you find interesting. I mean, I try to make things interesting for viewers, but I also want to make sure that I'm doing something that I enjoy. I'm going to put, let's see here. Oh, something I should probably tell you is that, like, this has audio attached to it, and if I play it, did you hear that? I do great at making videos. I'm okay with it. It's just a bunch of loud noise. You need to, unless you're using the audio that's attached to the footage, if it has audio on it. Otherwise, you gotta like Control Shift S. I use the shortcuts a lot, or I'll right click over it. I separate it and delete it so that it's no longer competing with the other audio that I'm using. You can use all kinds of really fun animations and stuff for these. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. But yeah, you gotta play around with it. You have to kind of get experience doing it get experience doing it. So I'm just kind of babbling now, but let's say this is the only video that I'm using. We'll pretend it is, but it's not. I'm going to be doing a lot more editing. I just don't want to edit this whole thing because it literally takes hours, sometimes days to do this. But I'll change the speed. And then let's say I'm going to throw... Okay, I usually will put like something down here. Like the picture... What if I do that? Does that... A little bit smaller, so my quality... Wow! Oh man, that's so cool. It just keeps the GIF going. Wow. Okay, yeah, definitely like that about CapCut, because iMovie I don't think does that. As high of a quality on BitChute. But yeah, okay, so anyway, I said I was going to talk about how I do the scroll edit at the end. Oh my god, I need to... Just for this purpose, I'm just gonna delete this. I'm not gonna keep this. I'm gonna like redo all this. But if I want to have my stuff scroll, so do you notice how I have 2 anchor points here? What I do is I edit this text for whatever song I'm using, or songs. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's misspelled. Song by band. And then I will create compound clip. I put it down on the main track. And at the very beginning, I put an anchor point. And I put an anchor point at the very, well, close to the very end. For some reason, I can't get it to really work that well when it's on the very end. But for this one, I want it up here. I'm going to select that anchor point now. I want it down here. And when I play it through, it scrolls it. And then I'll do the same thing. We'll say I copy this and paste it. I'm going to undo compound clip, additional credits, blah 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 blah, whatever. Oh, too long. Then I'm going to again right click, create compound clip. You could also, I guess, do Alt G. That sounds like some kind of energy drink. I'm sorry. And then you do the same thing where you add the anchor points. Click about there. This one's going to go there. This one's going to go down here. Okay. And then when that starts to get to a point where it's kind of out of the way. Ta-da! That's how you do the scroll. When you're done with your video, you're going to export. These are the selections. You know, I do 1080p, higher usually for the bitrate. I leave the rest at the default. I export the MP3. And then it'll start exporting and it'll tell you how long it's going to take. I just kind of walk away and do something else at this point. Once it's done, you know, you go over to like your platform and you upload it onto whatever platforms you're going to upload it onto, usually YouTube. And there you have it. I make my thumbnails in Photoshop CS5 because I ain't paying for no fucking subscription. Fuck that noise. You could use whatever you have. If you have GIMP, if you have Fire Alpaca, if you have something else, use that. And then I edit the description box, and that's it. Hooray! That's how you make a video. Oh my god, you guys, this was such a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Peace and love. Fare you well. And keep on trucking.